Okay, now coming to the second tract. First one was dorsal column or posterior column that we have covered. The second one is anterolateral spinothalamic tract, like it's written the spinothalamic pathway. Actually, it's kind of a misnomer because the spinothalamic, you can't just say spinothalamic for the anterolateral spinothalamic. Dorsal column was also a spinothalamic, as the name says spine to thalamus. So, if it is called as, it should be called as, and it is called as anterolateral spinothalamic tract. Now, the further detail is they have been studied differently, like anterior spinothalamic tract and lateral spinothalamic tract, depending on their position within the spinal cord, like whether they are present in the anterior aspect or lateral. But collectively, most of the books they mention it as anterolateral spinothalamic tract. Now, what are the sensations which are carried via the anterolateral spinothalamic tract? Pain. Second one is temperature, and third one is touch. Touch, कौन से वाला touch? Crude touch, not the fine. Crude touch. Okay, these three sensations: the crude touch, pain, and temperature. These three are carried via anterolateral spinothalamic tract. Okay, anterolateral spinothalamic tract. So, this pain, temperature, and crude touch, and these anterolateral spinothalamic tract, they are located in anterior white funiculus near the periphery or the lateral white funiculus. Okay, sorry for the background disturbance. See, actually इस लॉकडाउन में क्या हो रहा है, दो ही तरह की आवाज़ आ रही है. Either the bird chirping when everything is silent, the second one is this dog barking. आप लोग चले गए हो यहाँ से, तो यहाँ इनका एक छत्र साम्राज्य हो गया है, और बाहर के जितने भी जो स्ट्रे डॉग्स आते हैं, एक्चुअली दे आर आल्सो द स्ट्रे डॉग्स, बाहर के स्ट्रे डॉग्स आते हैं तो ये सोचते हैं ये हमारे साम्राज्य पे अटैक हो गया है, तो पूरा टाइम विद इन हाफ एन आवर इनका स्टार्ट हो जाता है भौंकना. सो ओके, लीव दैट थिंग. सो एंटेरोलैटरल स्पाइनोथैलेमिक ट्रैक्ट, in this one, see the other things are similar. There is, this is 3 order neuron, means there are 3 neurons in the pathway as there is in the dorsal column. The basic difference is in the case of the dorsal column, the, like say the pathway was the dorsal column, the first order neuron were very long, and they were traveling along the spinal cord and ending in the medulla oblongata. But in the anterolateral system, first order neuron will carry the sensation from the corresponding dermatome, will enter the spinal cord, will end over there, and then the second order neuron. What is the rule for the second order neuron? There are 2 rules for second order neuron. One is it will always originate from the same side, ipsilateral side, and second one was it will always cross over to the opposite side. So, it originates and crosses over to the opposite side. Just imagine we are talking about say L2 segment, and then there is one more catch. One is if the L2 segment dermatome, which is carrying the sensation of pain, temperature, say we say the pain, temperature, and crude touch. Just we will, for to make it easier, not more complicated, pain and temperature. Say pain and temperature from L2 dermatome. Okay, so that will carry the sensation of the right side if we are talking about the right side. So, the right side pain temperature receptor of the L2 will enter over here. Okay, it will enter on the L2 aspect, and then instead of the ending at the L2, it might end at the L2, but instead of ending at the L2, it will either ascend 1 or 2 segment above or below, like it can go up to L1 or T12, or it can go to L3. It will wander 1 or 2 segment above or below. So, that pathway, like that neuron which is moving, traveling 1 or 2 segment above, that is called as Lishore tract. Ascend or descend 1 to 2 segment in Lishore tract. What is tract? Tract is nothing but like the fibers which are carrying एक pathway है, एक आपका कह सकते हो कि पगडंडी टाइप है. So this is called as Lishore tract. Okay. Now it will end and the second order neuron will originate from the same side, and then it will cross over to the opposite side, right? It is crossing over to the opposite side, and then it will travel all along the pathway. So we can say like जैसे मैंने आपको dorsal column में कहा था, the neurons, first order neurons are very long. They start, say if we are talking about the corresponding L2 for the dorsal column pathway, vibration and position sense, they will start from the L2, travel all along the spinal cord and reach up to the medulla, where they will end in the nucleus gracilis. Okay. But in the case of the anterolateral pathway, which one is the longer? Not the primary one. Primary one will enter, move 1 or 2 segment above or below in the Lishore tract and end over there. Now the second order will originate in the spinal cord, and then it will cross over and it will travel all along. Suppose we are talking about the L2 for the pain and temperature of the right aspect, that will end in L1, near about L1 or T12. Second order neuron will start from the L1 and will travel all along the spinal cord and will reach, it won't even end in the medulla. Why? Because the second order neuron always ends in the ventral posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. So it will travel all along the spinal cord, the brain stem, medulla, pons, midbrain, everything, and will end in the thalamus. So the longest neuron in anterolateral system is second order neuron, and from the second order neuron, when it ends in the ventral posterolateral nucleus, the same thing, the rest of the pathway is same as that of the dorsal column. The third order neuron will originate from the ventral posterolateral nucleus, and then it will go to the post central gyrus. Okay. So we can say the anterolateral system, the spinothalamic tract, it crosses through the entire length of the spinal cord and brain stem to terminate in the ventral posterolateral nucleus. From there, there will be sensation carried by the third order neuron. So if there is any lesion A, B and C, these three things are seen. If there is a problem within the D, before going to the lesion level, we will cover this thing, say second order neuron, the fiber of anterospinal thalamic, this one we have covered, this is just written in the words in the slides, and crosses obliquely to the opposite side, then lemniscus is there, crude touch and pressure. Yes, as I said, like some of the books they mention it separately as anterior or lateral. If it is for the lateral, pain and temperature is carried via the lateral, if you want to go into further detail, and anterior is via for crude touch and pressure. Forget about the pressure one, then it will become confusing. Just remember the crude touch. Anterior for the crude touch, lateral for the pain and temperature. So if we look at this diagram, say I will enlarge it a bit. The fibers, the first neuron, neuron number 1, that is coming from the leg, the spinothalamic, it enters, goes to the, as soon as it enters within the gray matter. From the gray matter, there is origin of the second order neuron, and then that will come out into the white matter and then travel along the white matter. So there are two important things to remember over here. I will try to explain it by drawing. Take a blank slide, say, see if this is the spinal cord, this is the anterior aspect or the ventral aspect, okay, and okay, excuse me for my bad drawing, and say this is the gray column. The main purpose of drawing this thing is, say, suppose this is the dorsal, this is the dorsal one and this is the ventral one. I am sorry for the very bad diagram. So for the pain and temperature we are talking about, these fiber enter via the dorsal root and will end in gray matter. The main point of drawing this entire diagram is to tell you that this will go and enter in the gray matter, and from the gray matter there will be the origin of the second order neuron. So, for the second order neuron I will use pink one, this one orange one, oranging, then it will cross over within the gray matter and then come out in the white matter and travel along all along via the anterolateral pathway. So, the important point over here is the first order neuron, this first order neuron, it enters via the dorsal root and ends in the gray matter, and this second order neuron originate, the cell body originate in the gray matter, crosses over in the gray matter, then come out in the white matter. This is the white matter, right? And white matter, and then travel all along. So, what was like, if you can recall back the initial slide, the first class of the spinal cord was this connecting the right aspect to the left aspect, the right thing to the left thing, the connecting point was, say, this was this green, this part is commissure, anterior white commissure, and if it is within this gray matter, then it is called as anterior gray commissure or ventral gray commissure. Anterior ventral is one and same thing. Just remember this thing, it will be sorry, I am so sorry, it will be very useful for, like in the coming slide when we will talk about the clinical aspect or applied aspect of this entire system. Just remember ventral gray commissure or anterior gray commissure. Via the ventral gray commissure, the second order neuron crosses over to the opposite side. Okay, it crosses over to the opposite side. Okay. So, that is one thing, that crossover. The second thing is पैकेज हो रही है, जो पैकेजिंग थी आपकी, इसमें क्या है, इसमें क्या हो रहा है, जो आपका नीचे से आ रहा है लंबर एस्पेक्ट, फर्स्ट ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन एंड्स इन द ग्रे कॉलम, फ्रॉम द ग्रे कॉलम द सेकंड ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन ओरिजिनेट्स, राइट, द सेकंड ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन is originating in the gray column, crossing over via the ventral white commissure, and then it travels along the white matter. अब इसकी पैकेजिंग कैसे हो रही है, देखिए, जो नीचे वाला है वो सीधा जाके यहाँ पैक हो गया है लेटरल एस्पेक्ट में, कोने में जाके होता है पैक, ठीक है। जो ऊपर वाला है वो इससे होगा। अगर आप इसको, इफ़ आई ट्राई टू ड्रॉ द डायग्राम इन दिस स्लाइड, सी डोर्सल कॉलम में क्या था आपका, डोर्सल कॉलम से, दिस इज द डायग्राम ऑफ द डोर्सल कॉलम, दिस वाज द मिड लाइन। तो डोर्सल कॉलम में आपका जो आ रहा था पाथवे नीचे से, दिस इज द लोअर मोस्ट, दिस इज द अपर मोस्ट, वो आ रहा था, वो पैक हो रहा था और सीधा जा रहा था, वाइट कमीशन में ही जा रहा था ना, उसमें सॉरी वाइट मैटर में, और जो ये वाले थे, ये लेटरल वाले थे, ये पैक हो गया, ये पैक हो सकता था इस ब्लू लाइन तक, तो ये जो नीचे वाला आ रहा है वो सीधा ब्लू लाइन के पास जा रहा था, तो ये मीडियल हो गया ना, लो वन, और उसके बाद जो ऊपर वाले आ रहे थे प्रॉक्सिमल, वो सारे लेटरल थे। दैट इज़ वन सिनेरियो। द सेकेंड सिनेरियो इज फॉर एंटेरोलैटरल, दिस इज द स्पाइनल कॉर्ड, दिस इज द मिड लाइन, एंड नाउ इसमें क्या हो रहा है, इसमें नीचे से आ रहा है, जो भी है हम नंबर का बात कर रहे हैं, इट विल एंड ओवर हेयर, द सेकेंड ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन will originate and then cross over to the opposite side, और अब इसको पैक होना है, अब इसको पैक होना है तो कहाँ होना है, ये ग्रीन वाले के पास आएगा ना, तो यहाँ पे पैक हो जाएगा, इसके ऊपर वाला आएगा वो ऐसे पैक होगा। सो नाउ वी कैन से द बेसिक डिफरेंस इन द केस ऑफ डोर्सल कॉलम, दिस pathway, the lowermost one is occupying the medial most position, but in the case of the anterolateral, the lowermost pathway is occupying द लेटरल पोजिशन, जैसे जैसे प्रॉक्सिमल जा रहे हैं वो मीडियल ओलाई होते जाएंगे। ओके, सो दैट्स द सेकेंड पॉइंट इन दैट मेजर डिफरेंस बिटवीन द एंटेरोलैटरल एंड डोर्सल कॉलम। देखिए आप यहाँ पे, जस्ट लुक ओवर हियर, द सर्वाइकल स्पाइनल कॉर्ड पाथवे इज ऑक्यूपाइंग द मिडिल वन एज कंपेयर टू द लोअर वन। ओके, एंड देन अगेन द सेम, इट विल गो एंड क्रॉस ओवर, रीच टू द ventral posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus and will go to the primary somatosensory cortex. Okay, primary somatosensory cortex. Now, the applied aspect is, if there happens any lesion, this is the left side and this part is the right side. If there is a lesion on the left side, a lesion here will result in deficit that are contralateral, opposite side. Why? Because the lesion is happening in the second order neuron and the primary order neuron was coming from the opposite side. So, the problem will be on the opposite side of the body, 1 to 2 segment below the lesion. Why 1 to 2 segment below the lesion? क्योंकि आपका जैसे सी द सेकेंड ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन आपका L1 का आ रहा है, तो L1 से सेकेंड ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन स्टार्ट हो रहा था, वो L3 वाले का हो रहा था, 1 और 2 ऊपर ट्रैवल कर रहे थे ना, वो यहाँ पे ये देखो ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, ट्रैक ऑफ लिस्टर सी L3 डर्मेटोम, जस्ट इमेजिन दिस इज द L3 डर्मेटोम, L3 वाला L3 में एंट्री मारी, then it will travel 1 or 2 segment above, if you can recall back 1 or 2 segment above, and 1 or 2 segment above, just imagine 2 segment L1, तो L1 से आपका ये मूव हो गया, यहाँ पे एंट्री हो गया. तो अब अगर मान लो दिस इज द राइट लेफ्ट साइड एंड दिस इज द राइट साइड, सो ये लेफ्ट साइड का L1 पे क्रॉस सेक्शन हो गया है, तो कौन सा पाथवे अफेक्टेड हो रहा है? अपोजिट साइड का हो रहा है ना, पेन एंड टेम्परेचर का, पेन एंड टेम्परेचर का अपोजिट साइड का 1 या 2 सेगमेंट बिलो. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज रिटन ए लीजन हियर रिजल्ट्स इन डेफिसिट दैट आर कॉन्ट्रालैटरल एंड 1 to 2 सेगमेंट बिलो द लीजन. समझ गए? सो आप फॉरगेट अबाउट द 1 to 2 सेगमेंट, ये और कन्फ्यूजिंग है, इसको हम डिटेल में बाद में करेंगे. जस्ट रिमेंबर, अगर जहाँ पे ये लीजन हो रहा है उसके अपोजिट साइड का पेन एंड टेम्परेचर लॉस होगा. तो जैसे मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दिया था कि एक कोई देयर इज ए वन केस विद द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द फॉल फ्रॉम द ट्री और माउंटेन जो एरिया है जैसे आया. अब वो कह रहा है कि डॉक्टर साहब मेरे को जो अम्बलाइकल एरिया कह रहा है, या तो वो सी कहना होगा, वो प्रेजेंट करेगा कंप्लेंट के साथ, दैट इज द सिम्टम, और साइन आप एलिसिट करोगे. तो आप इसमें सोचिए कि आपने उसको चेक किया, वो आता है अपने फॉल की हिस्ट्री के साथ कि गिर गया. अब आपने चेक किया सेंसरी सिस्टम बिलो अम्बलाइकल लेवल, उसको अगर लेफ्ट साइड में बिलो अम्बलाइकल, जस्ट इमेजिन, क्रिएट ए सिनेरियो इन योर माइंड, बिलो अम्बलाइकस लेफ्ट साइड में उसको वाइब्रेशन, पोजीशन सेंस, 2 पॉइंट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, फाइन टच, ये बिल्कुल भी सेंसेशन नहीं हो रही है लेफ्ट साइड में उसको अम्बलाइकस के नीचे. प्लस बिलो अम्बलाइकस ऑन द राइट एस्पेक्ट, राइट साइड ऑफ द बॉडी बिलो अम्बलाइकस, उसको पेन, टेम्परेचर एंड क्रूड टच नहीं हो रहा है. सो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द लीजन? लीजन इज hemitransaction, entire hemitransaction of the left aspect of the spinal cord at the level of the umbilicus. Did you get it? Let me repeat the question. If a person with a history of the fall presents to you in the emergency and you check for the sensory system and your finding comes out like there is loss of position sense, proprioception, vibration sense, 2 point discrimination below the umbilicus on the left aspect, and pain, temperature and crude touch sensation is lost below the umbilicus on the right aspect, then what exactly is the problem? The problem is there is transaction or cutting of the spinal cord at the level of the umbilicus on the left aspect, or we can say hemitransaction of the spinal cord at the umbilical level. That is the clinical correlation or clinical aspect of knowing the tract, the pathway in the dorsal column and anterolateral spinothalamic tract. Because the anterolateral spinothalamic tract, first of all, we should know what it carries. It carries pain, temperature and crude touch, and it crosses over to the opposite side. And dorsal column carries vibration, position sense, diagnosis, proprioception, 2 point discrimination, and it does not cross over in the spinal cord. It will cross over in the medulla lesion. So, there will be the loss of the same side of this sensation and loss of the opposite side of the pain, temperature and crude touch. So, that is the clinical correlation of knowing the pathway of anterolateral spinothalamic tract and dorsal column spinothalamic tract. Okay. I hope it is clear now.